we double booked on a project, and we're shooting this video, and at the same time we had a contractor shooting another video for us back in Maryland. There's someone shooting another video for me right now. I'm shooting this video. Like, that's pretty damn cool.
Finding time to work on the business and to do it consistently, that will have the biggest impact.
The Loom video is something that I know about that I've never done, and that just makes so much sense. If I could be sitting there communicating while I'm going through the workflow, that's a great form of communication and a teaching tool for someone.
On episode 498 of the podcast, we talk about why so many of us start out as glorified freelancers with the logo and how to break free. We also go over how to beat post-production blank page syndrome before you even open your video editing software, and then why I'm getting my business skinny on purpose so it stays nimble enough to pivot. What's up, my friend? Hey, welcome to the Grow Your Video Business podcast. This is the show where I help you build a video business that runs without you running yourself into the ground. My name is Ryan Coral, and I have the distinct pleasure of being your host. Today, I'm talking with Eric Breaker of Twin Pine Creative. He is about a year and a half into this business full-time, putting up solid revenue and stuck in that all too familiar spot where he's doing every single job in the business and feeling like he's only getting each one halfway done. I think we've all felt that and experienced that. So we did get to do a little mini coaching, and we dug into why so many of us are really just freelancers with a logo and how to kill the post-production dread before it even starts. I don't know if you have experienced that, where you've got everything shot, ready to go. You sit down, open the projects, start a new project, whatever, and then it's like, okay, where do I even go? So we go over that. I think I had some good ideas for him and so much more. Don't forget, next week is the deadline for the early bird discount for the Onward Summit. So if you haven't gotten your ticket yet, now is the best time. You'll be able to get them like through September. The event is October 4th through the 6th, but you're going to be sad when you see how much money you could have saved if you just get your ticket now. There might even be some payment options too, if that makes sense and makes life a little bit easier for you. So go grab that now at studiosherpas.com/onward. Don't make me be that annoying parent that keeps reminding you to do the thing that you already know that you should be doing. Too late, Ryan, you are that annoying parent. Okay, well, comes with the territory. I'm glad you're here. Buckle up. It's a great episode. Let's get into it. What's up, my friend? Welcome to another episode of the show. Today with me is Eric Breaker, who is founder of Twin Pine Creative and also an outdoor filmmaker. Eric, I'm glad that you're here, and I'm excited that we get some time together today.
I can't tell you how excited I am to be here. We just chatted a little bit, but I mean, I've been a pretty long time listener, and I was trying to look back to get an idea of how many years it has been, and I think it's like 5 or 6 at this point. So it feels pretty wild to be talking with you in person. It doesn't feel awesome. Real.
Yeah, it's crazy to be talking to you, because I don't know if this is the first time you reached out, but I don't know if I've heard from you before.
Yeah, I don't think you have. I mean, I've been one of those quiet listeners. Honestly, don't hold this against me, but I think it might have taken me 3 or 4 years to like subscribe. Like I was one of those listeners who listened like once a week for years, but wasn't even a subscriber. So sorry about that.
Funny. No, man, whatever. I'm grateful that we're doing this. It was, I don't know, probably a couple of months ago that I'd reached out to everyone and just said, hey, I would love to do like some more like formal coaching on the podcast to be able to help some of the people who have been listening to the show for a while. And also just to say like, man, could this be something that maybe Ryan could help me through, or maybe the person that is on the hot seats, maybe I have the same issue, problem, struggle, or frustration or whatever that they have, and Ryan and this person can help me walk through that same thing. So thank you for being a part of the guinea pig tribe that said, yeah, like I'll do some live coaching, and we'll see how it goes. So hopefully I don't screw this up too much. Give us a little sense of like what is your production? But you say you've been listening to the show for 5 years, so you've probably been doing video production for 5 years. While you answer the question, give us some context about your production business. What do you do? How did you get started? And then we'll dig into how we might be able to help you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, like many stories, I think, I've been very interested in storytelling and video production for the majority of my life, to be honest. So I hear so many people in the show talk about such a similar origin story, where maybe there's like Lego stop motion animation videos that I love to do that transformed into some embarrassing family vacation videos that eventually transformed into saving up for my first camera, which was a Canon 70D at the time. And I started doing some freelance stuff here and there when I was probably like 17, 18. And at that point, I would do anything and everything. Like I think I did a hype video for a rugby team. I did like a Facebook ad for a local hair salon. It's kind of just all over, learning what I liked, what I absolutely hated. By the way, I did do one wedding too. Swore it off after that. They were not my thing.
All it takes for some.
Yeah. Very, very high stress. But anyway, that gradually increased where I was getting more experience and building up my gear. And I went to business school for marketing to kind of learn the business side of things. So I kind of just continued freelance on the side for many years until 2021. Around the time COVID hit, my brother and I actually teamed up and created a short film together. And we're both very avid outdoorsmen and fly anglers, and we really love the environment and conservation. So we made a short film about fly fishing and conservation in our home watershed, which is called the Chesapeake Bay Watershed. And it did better than we thought. Got into a bunch of festivals, got into a fly fishing film tour, which, believe it or not, yes, there is a fly fishing specific film tour out there. And essentially that project was a launching pad to what I'm doing now. So I've been full-time doing this for about 1.5 years at this point, where I run a content agency called Twin Pine Creative that focuses on storytelling and video production for environmental organizations and outdoor companies. So essentially we use the skill set we learned on that first film with conservation storytelling and filmmaking behind the camera, but to help companies and environmental organizations create video campaigns or short films or social media content. So that's kind of where I'm at now. Like I said, I'm now 1.5 years into officially being full-time, which has been a daunting, rewarding, and frustrating journey altogether. I'm sure we'll talk a little bit about that today.
Okay, great backstory. When you are looking at where things are at right now, actually, you made me remember in 2017, 2018, we launched our horse documentary. So it was about equestrian show jumping. I knew nothing about the sport and not much about horses until we did this documentary back then. And then the amount of festivals that were related to horses in that whole world, I was like, well, how are there even film festivals? Like, what is this? But yeah, so when you said, oh yeah, there's film, festivals on it. I'm like, yeah, no, I've been there, done that. So super fun. So in the work that you're doing now, when you look at the thing that might be stopping you or the thing that's most frustrating in the work, like where are you at?
That's a charged question.
Take a breath, take your time.
I think, this is such a cop-out, but it really is kind of everything to a degree. I feel like I'm at a point now where, to give you slightly more background, my brother does work on this with me, but he is part-time. He has a full-time job elsewhere currently. So really this first 1.5 years, I would almost describe myself as a glorified freelancer in a way. Sure. Yeah. And it's gotten to a point where at this moment in time, I feel like there is so much on my plate. And as you know, I feel like I'm doing every single part of the business, and therefore I'm not achieving nearly as much as I want to be achieving. Because I feel like I'm doing everything almost at a shallow level rather than, I just focused on shooting today or just focusing on editing to make this video as good as possible. Instead, it's a little bit of everything. And some days with the amount of anxiety that comes with all the things you have to do, that turns into, a lot of nothing being done.
So then let's start with the end in mind and just think through like this business 3 years from now. Like where do you want it to be? Like what kind of work do you want to be doing? Is there a team? Is it your brother? Is he in the business full time? What's your role?
Yeah. I've thought a lot about this. I think I'll give you an ambitious 3-year goal. I've talked about this with my brother too. Like we would love to be around that maybe $1 million revenue mark and have a small team. I think that's with my brother and I full time or as partners, and maybe 1 or 2 other employees, whether they are full time or just frequent contractors that we work with. I think that's our goal, just from a pure like business size perspective. And once we're there, I would love to be able to, have somewhere between maybe 10 to 15 clients a year that we work on core projects with. So yeah, I'll just start there, I guess.
Okay. Yep. That's good. And then what's your role? What's your brother's role? 3 years from now.
Ooh, yeah, okay. Yeah. 3 years from now, I would say I would lean more into a creative director type role. Which I still would be wearing a lot of hats, and I'm still happy to do that. But where I would be focusing on overall direction, and then also shooting and editing like specific projects that I'm really pumped about. And I would see him really leaning into a project manager and communications role, where he's kind of on top of client communication, as well as like making sure we're hitting certain milestones on time. Yeah.
And he's fine with that. I mean, because that kind of means not as much on camera, not as much in the editing and storytelling.
Yeah. I mean, that's always been, I've always been the one doing the actual hands-on creative side anyway. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, yeah. According to my calculations, it can't work, man. Sorry. So next question. No,
dude, how'd you calculate that? That sucks.
But I mean, super good to know and to get clear on, here we are right now. I'm doing all the things, having vision for where you want to head. It's the only way that, if all you're trying to figure out is like, how can I get caught up on my emails so that I can enjoy this weekend and not, I'll just be thinking about work and what I didn't get done. That's an okay problem to, think through and try to solve for. But you also have to think bigger picture and have the vision for where. I have no idea how we're going to get to this spot, because I don't have time to do all the things right now. So to even think, how do we hire anybody to help offload some of this stuff? But being really, really clear in what are your intentions, and then also just being clear on what is it that you do that like is the most valuable thing in the business. And my guess is that a lot of the administrative stuff, it's like, that is a skill set, but most of us that find ourselves doing this work, we don't get into it because they're like, man, I love creating call sheets and, just coordinating, all the projects. It's like, no, I want to be in the heart of the creation and the vision for the thing. That's the part that I'm excited.
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, that picture I just painted is probably more like a 5-year or a little bit more pictured with where I'm at right now.
Well, especially with that attitude.
Yeah. Well, you are wrong. You aren't wrong. It's probably not the right attitude to have.
Well, I mean, so can you share revenue, like what you guys did last year? Are you comfortable with that?
Yeah, totally. So, I mean, last year was year 1 in revenue is like around 130,000.
Yeah.
And then,
did you hire contractors for that, or was that strictly you and your brother?
There was 2 projects where we hired contractors, but that was it. And really, it was
like a few $1,000, or was it a lot of $1,000?
I think it was around 12,000.
Okay. So not crazy. So you're still at like 118K.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously a lot of expenses and whatever, but I'm just trying to get a sense. Did you hire somebody for like $40,000 worth of stuff? It's like, oh, that's a different story.
Yeah. And again, my brother is, he's been great with the process too. Like he is working full time at his position. So that really was all me year 1. And he knows that I'm the one investing the time currently to try to lay that foundation too. So again, it really was, I feel like I was just a freelancer with a logo year 1.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and that's the trick that I think a lot of us don't realize is that that's where most of us are at for a really long time is we're glorified freelancer. We own a job, which there's part of that that's really nice, right? Because nobody's telling you what to do except for your clients. But that's phase one. And some people are fine being that forever. Then there are others that catch a glimpse of like, well, what would it look like if I just shared this story the other day, the first time that I had an employee and the first time that I didn't go to a wedding. I took my wife on a date. We're eating. It was like a Friday or a Saturday night in the middle of the summer when I would normally be filming a wedding. And I was like, I have a team right now filming a wedding and I'm here on a date. I'm like, this is the dream. And that's for me, like, that was like a moment that I said, how do I get more of this? How do I create more of these opportunities? And then, fast forward a few years and I take, I don't even know, 4, 5, 6 weeks of vacation every year. And the business still moves. Like things still happen. It's not like we shut down, but like, emails are still being answered and calls are being scheduled and people are sending us money and we're booking contracts. And it's not to the degree that I want, but thinking back to day one, it was like, oh my gosh, I'm doing all of the things. And how do I get out of doing all the things so that I can, enjoy some of the fruits of my labor, which sounds like that's kind of where you're at.
100%. I mean, that's the dream. And I did have a similar moment last year where we double booked on a project. And one of the projects was to go down to Belize and shoot an advertisement for this carbon negative rum company down there. And obviously that's the one I wanted to do. So we went to Belize and we're shooting this video. And at the same time, we had a contractor shooting another video for us back in Maryland. And that was a very similar moment where I was kind of sitting there like, there's someone shooting another video for me right now while I'm shooting this video. Like, that's pretty dang cool. But of course, that was just the very beginning, and that's only happened once or twice. And I'd love to find a more systematic approach where I can find a way to make that happen more often.
Yeah. And so, as we say, like, hey, like if we've got one thing we can talk about during our time together, what would be the most helpful thing for you?
So starting with that general feeling of just kind of being at a point right now where I feel a little bit stuck and unorganized, I think diving into that one step deeper, the topic of finding a way to find and hire contractors for different levels of the business would be really helpful to me. So maybe just, there's so many conversations within that topic as well, like communicating payment and budget, how to maintain your style and your quality when you're using someone else. I do have a specific question about some, remote editing workflows and what that looks like and file transfer. So I know we're opening up a little can of worms here, but maybe we could start somewhere there.
Can of worms, all the things. So first question I would have is like, when you look at your business systems, because even as you're making me think back to 2005, 2006, having a hard time going to bed without thinking about all of the things that I left undone, the emails I didn't respond to, the voicemails that I didn't respond to. Do I owe this person a proposal? Now I can't remember. And then getting up the next day and then looking at my notes. I used to keep track of all of my potential jobs on a yellow like legal pad. And my handwriting back then was so terrible that there were some things I'm like, I can't even, what was that? What is this word here? Or I can't read the email address that I'm supposed to reply to. And so I had a terrible system for intaking clients. I didn't have a system for when should I be replying? What should I be replying with? When should I give them an estimate? Do I just give it over email? Do I hop on a call with all of them? How can I stay on top of like everybody that I need to book a call with? I didn't, everything was everywhere. And that's where my brain went. And it was hard to rest. And then I remember reading David Allen's book, Getting Things Done. And he basically said, get a notebook out, get a journal, write everything that's in your head on this thing, on this piece of paper. Just write, huge list of all the things, the to-dos, everything that you think that you have to do, just write it down. And I did that exercise. I actually did it. I think I was on a plane and I was like, oh, I'm going to do that exercise now. And I did it. And I finally went to bed that night and I was like, okay, I think I actually wrote down all the things. Now they all still needed to be done, but they weren't living up in my head. And he also suggests if you wake up in the middle of the night and you think of something, just write it down and then put it away and you can visit it when it's time to, but it's not time to in the middle of the night, process through that and think through what's the solution there. And I was like, that's a completely different way of thinking. I just thought, hey, I own a business, but really the business owned me. And I was always thinking about the business and like what needed to happen. We were on that date and I was like, okay, this is great. I'm not filming. But then I was probably thinking like, okay, but like, does he know after he's done filming that, he's got to do the quick little interview? And did I write that out? Like, is he sure? And then what about the backing up of the stuff? Is he going to put the stuff in the safe so that, if we get whatever, so it's just like always, always going. What system or where is in the work that you're doing, would you say like, if I had a better system for this one thing, that would actually solve a lot of my problems? Is there something easily identifiable like that?
Yeah. And again, I feel like you're in my head right now, like that you just described where I'm at this stage of my business.
Sorry.
A lot of my systems are just like in my head and not written down anywhere. Like, I feel confident with where I'm at right now with discovery calls and with proposals. But a lot of that is just, stuff I have in my head from different, resources I've learned from like Blair Enns and other people like that. I would say trying to be as objective as possible. I would say one of the stickiest points of my workflow is post video shoot to final delivery. So file organization into post-production. And I think that's where a ton of my anxiety comes from with the business, I think, just thinking about that footage sitting there. And I think I describe it a lot as like that blank page syndrome. So you have all these projects and you need to move them from point A to point B and you have a certain deadline or due date. So I think I would say that's probably a system that I need to build out that would really help my business for sure.
Yeah, that's good. So I work with, actually, he's a good buddy of mine who's become an incredibly successful YouTuber, and we are editing his weekly videos. And as he's transitioning out of, he's actually the first person that shot for me and edited for me back when we were doing weddings.
Oh, wow.
And so coming up with systems, that's what we needed to do. And we did, and it worked for a really long time. Well, now I'm trying to help him come up with systems for his business because he's the quintessential creative. He's like, no, I know how to tell these stories. Like I know this footage better than anybody. But he's also experienced a little bit of freedom in the few projects that we have edited where he's like, oh man, my wife loves me that I'm not editing, all of these hours. So one of the things I've been telling him is when you finish a job on your drive home, bust out your iPhone and open up voice memos and hit record and just talk through what went well this day. What stood out? Was there an interview? Was there a sound bite? Was there a moment that you captured? Did you get a really sweet shot with the drone? Vomit as much as you can remember that stood out to you. And then also things to avoid, like, oh gosh, there was this moment where the person said this thing and like, we can't, I need to make sure that doesn't see the light of day. And articulate, I love the voice transcription because having that really, like, you've got the passion and the energy behind it versus like, here's a bullet list of all of the things. When I hear somebody say like, oh no, like this person said this thing, and that's a lot different than quote. Put this quote in there. Put this quote. It's like, oh, okay. But if you do that, if you can record and sort of say like, I'm not even sure where the film starts, but I know I got the final shot. Like the closing shot was the first shot that I got. I accidentally was recording. I didn't know I was recording, but then when I realized, I was like, oh my gosh, this is the closing moment. So any notes like that, Then you get home, you've got that recording, and you drop that into something like Premiere or Descript and have it transcribed. So now you've got, physical notes, plus you've got an audio. And then if you have an editor, you're giving the editor your audio so they can actually hear you articulating and they can hear the passion, and then they can fall back on the notes. And if it's you that's editing, you can fall back on the notes. You probably don't need to re-listen because you'll probably remember. But the worst thing that can happen is now my buddy Sean, he's done multiple projects and he's getting confused, and now my team is a little bit more confused with, wait, which one is he talking about? Because he hasn't been recording these memos consistently. And so there's like things can get confused pretty quickly. And so if you get multiple projects in the queue and you're like, shoot, I don't even remember shooting that project, and now I got to sit down and edit it. This blank page is going to stay a blank page for a lot longer. So that's one thought top of mind. I don't know if you already do something like that, and if you do, and I just wasted all your time, like, shoot.
No, I don't. You did not waste my time. That's a great idea, and I have thought recently about something in a similar vein, but I think this kind of speaks to it. But it's just taking one step towards that final product would even help me with that mental barrier of completely starting from scratch. Because you're absolutely right. I think what gets me a lot of times is I'm sitting there like, oh, like this thing I shot 2 weeks ago, like what the heck did they say? Where do I start? Like, and that's where like the stickiest point is for me. So if I could at least start there and write a voice memo, I do think that would help me a ton.
I was just gonna say one other thing that I would do, especially if you're doing interviews, a little bit harder with B-roll, but and that's why the voice note, you're talking about the visuals. Oh, this sweet shot, this camera was able to do this, and then you're able to talk about if there's any sound bites, right? Well, if you're doing any interviews, then dropping that stuff into your Adobe project and getting the transcription from all of the interviews, and then taking all of that stuff and starting a brand new project. This is what I would do. We use Claude for most of our AI stuff. Starting a brand new project inside of Claude and naming it your client, or however you do have a naming structure. Drop it in there. Drop your voice note transcript in there, and then all of the interview transcripts in there, and just say like, okay, I'm not starting on this project for 2 weeks, but let me know if you see any trends, or just any talking points or any things that are common threads based on the creative brief. That hopefully you have some kind of a creative brief before you even started this project. So you plug in your creative brief, you plug in the transcripts from any interviews. Like, let's start creating a super rough outline based on, like, we have a framework for how we tell stories. And so I just say based on the tell framework. And then the AI goes to work and just starts creating some stuff like, hey, here are some directions you can go. So that even if when I sit down to start editing, I don't edit, but my team does. But when they sit down, they've got a place to go. They don't have to, they're not starting from scratch. They've got voice memos or a transcript or a creative brief where they can start. And then if we do interviews, then they can just start looking at some of the lines that are like in relation to the kind of film that the AI knows that we want to create.
Wow. Yeah, that's super powerful. Is that something you're still doing now? Plugging it into Claude, is that something you're doing?
Yeah. When we finish, one of the first tasks that our team has is to grab the transcripts. Sometimes, depending on the client, the project, sometimes our clients want the transcript so that they can go through and highlight anything that they were like, ooh, this is really good. This is really good. Because sometimes like that person who's making the call or partnering with us on this project wasn't at the shoot, so they don't really know. So we'll send them the transcript, and then we've got that to start with to be able to plug that in. And a lot of our projects, we're doing a workshop before we even hit record, and so we've got a lot of guts for who this client is, what they care about, the purpose, the goal, what success for this project is. And we also will probably even have some sound bites, some dream sound bites that we hope to get inside of that blueprint. And so we're using that blueprint to help guide the outline for what's going to get created. And then when we have the actual, here are the interview clips, you plug that in, and then all of that stuff starts working together. So, technically my editor wouldn't even have to be at the shoot. And they've got either a brief or a blueprint that we've created to go off of. And then they've got the transcript that they could search if they want, or they've got the output from the AI that says like, hey, these are some talking points that relate to the theme that we were trying to go for with the blueprint. So definitely include these. And then your editor still is going to have to go through the moments and listen for like the emotional tone or the teardrop, or the things that the tone and the visuals that are going to get missed in a transcript. But at least you have some starting points, or just some fillers that that, okay, as we tell the story, like, yeah, this and this is really helpful, instead of listening to 10 hours of interviews or whatever you got.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot quicker to be able to read through, to move through, and make your selections that way.
I'm going to steal that for sure. That is beyond helpful. And do you have any sort of like standard SOP for editing? Like, this is how Tell Studios edits a video. Like, these are what our videos look like.
Yeah. So it's a good question. We have and this is what I was going to ask you. When it comes time to actually sit down, do you have like first we've got our folders that the footage goes into, and then we go through the B-roll to mark B-roll, and then we go through the audio to mark audio clips. That we do have some kind of a process. I'm always telling the team like, oh, you should add this to the process when you start going through. And when all the AI stuff started coming into our laps, we're like, oh, we should be doing the transcripts and like utilizing that as a whole thing. And then also we've started, after we deliver the main project, we'll go to a client and say, hey, we got so much interview stuff. Like, there's a whole other piece over here that we could make based on, these other sound bites. So it's allowed us to not have to start from scratch and think like, what is there anything else? Like, the AI is pretty smart and is like, hey, this client, when you met with them, they said that if they had a recruiting piece, that would be nice too. And we had a couple of people say, this, and this, and that would actually work really well in a recruiting video. It's like, oh, shoot, you're right. I totally missed that. So yes, I would say that at the very least, having some kind of organization, way that you organize your files so that that's consistent and always the same. So that's easy to hand off to somebody. And when it comes to like the actual storytelling, our framework is, we call it Tell. The T in Tell is transition. And it's like, what's the hook, or like, what's just like one of those moments that makes you go, whoa, okay, like I want to listen or watch or whatever. And then the E is the emotion. Like, we got to draw people, we got to connect with their hearts. The L is for leverage. And it's like, what data or case study or what truth is being shared. So it's not just like, okay, yeah, that looks good, sounds good, but like, oh, this is backed up by what? And then finally the L is lead. And it's like, what's the call to action in this video? And it's not like, the person at the end of the video is saying like, go to tellstudios.com. But it's just like maybe a thought or a feeling or a question that we want the person like wrestling with by the time they get to the end of the thing. So that's a loose framework that we'll use for all of our videos. Sometimes it works super well, and other times it's like, I'm not really sure what that, but at least we have a starting point. Again, that's where we get stuck typically, is at the start. When you've got the blank page. Yeah. But having a framework and having some things that can be done to get people started, to get my editor started, ends up being probably the most helpful thing until they get stuck, not really sure how to end it. And that's like, oh, okay, well, that's easy. It's easier to come up with an ending, I think, than it is to like get people interested at the beginning.
Yeah, that makes complete sense to me. And I know historically you've had a pretty big team with the company. At this point, are these editors contractual, or are they full-time?
Yeah. So I recorded an episode yesterday, day before, and talked about how this year has been the year of getting skinny, and
nice. Ozempic
had to let go. yeah, exactly. It's my GLP-1 for Studios. We let our producer go at the beginning of the year. We had a consultant that we are working with, and we had an agency move into our studio. So we are sharing the space now. And so we are saving, I think it's like $10,000 a month. And it's putting us in a position where like my whole idea is like, I want to get skinny so that we can be, what's the word? Like nimble and able to like pivot if we want. At one point we had 8, 9, 10 people, in our studio, and it's hard to pivot. It's hard to move fast with that many people. And then also, if you're not super good with money and profits, there's so many years where it was just like, we ended the year with like, well, we don't have any extra money, but we don't owe any money. But that's it. We paid everybody and that's it. And then realizing that, man, I don't think we need that person or that role. I don't think we need that role. We should only be contracting that role if and when it comes up. It's so convenient to just have that person ready when this kind of opportunity comes up, but to pay them a salary full time, like, it doesn't make any sense. And the same thing with our producer. It was super convenient to always have somebody that's like ready to go. And we would get last minute jobs, and it would save us money by not having to hire a commercial freelancer to produce a project. But then we're like, yeah, but how many projects a week are we doing to justify a full-time salary? So all of that to say, we're trying to be really, really smart with our next hire. We literally just hired a part-time contracted editor. So our team right now is 4 full-time. I'm one of those 4. We just hired a part-time editor, just not as an employee, but as a contractor. And we're just hoping to scale. Like we're getting busier, and we just landed a new consistent client. So I want to go until it's like we must make this hire versus like, yeah, it'd be pretty cool to make this hire.
Right.
So that, I think that's been, I've carried a lot less weight. Feeling like, oh gosh, we gotta hit 50 or 60,000 every single month in order to pay our lease and all of our employees and all of the things, to like, oh my gosh, like we have to pay we have to deposit a fraction of that. And that feels really good for the season that we're in. I'm working on a book and getting ready for what I think next year is going to be our biggest year ever. And we're just working on our processes, and we're building out our contractor team a little bit bigger, trying to use people that we haven't used as much in the past, just so that we can be ready when things are a lot busier.
I would say that's kind of my dream in the future too, because I have nights where I'm so stressed, thinking about myself. If I had employees and I was responsible for their livelihood, I don't know. I would figure it out maybe, but that would be tough. And I think that is one of the dreams I have for the business. I almost view it as 2 big goals, where on one side, we're creating these cool creative projects for these environmental companies and telling these stories that matter and are helping. And on the other side, I would love to build a sort of roster or team of creatives who, even think about myself when I was a bit younger, I would kill if I could get funding to tell a cool story about this thing I care about. So like if I could build something that has a portfolio and a brand reputation where I can get the funding and help these, younger, I say younger, could be anyone, help these creatives to plug in and tell these stories that matter to them, that would be a really cool side of the business too. So it's good to hear from you. I think that is a major goal, I think, with Twin Pine Creative that I want to start pushing for this year.
Mm-hmm. Are you married? You have kids?
Engaged. No kids.
Right. Let's go.
Exciting stuff.
Hustle as hard as you can right now.
Yeah. Okay, good to hear.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm rewinding and thinking, I mean, the first probably 3 or 4 years of the business were probably the hardest, definitely the hardest on our marriage, just because I was working so hard so that I wouldn't have to work so hard.
Yeah.
And it was really hard for my wife to catch that vision, and rightfully so. I mean, I say the first 4 years, but yeah, it was probably the first 5 until I moved out of the house. I didn't move out of it.
I gotcha. Until you moved into the doghouse.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. But if I think about, I mean, I was always a business owner, being married, so I didn't have like a before. But like, if my wife, she's going out of town this weekend. She's taking my oldest daughter. I think my son is going to be gone, and my youngest daughter has a sleepover. And so all I'm thinking, I'm like, oh, dude, I can just like sit on my computer. I can open up Claude Code. I can make stuff. I can catch up on some stuff that I just haven't had time to build and to make.
Yeah.
But I would be working so hard to come up with processes for, we talked about editing, I think, before you even recorded, trying to like capture when I edit a project or when I deliver a project, what does it need to have? What are the standards? What are the things that make it us? Doing whatever I can to describe that, articulate that, making Loom videos as I edit a project, or if you are working with an editor, making a Loom video, not just using something like Frame and giving them text feedback, but creating a video that says, I love this part. This is a really cool opening. And then right after that, it kind of sucks. And here's why I think, or I'm not even sure why, but something happens in the music in the moment, but I just get lost and I'm not feeling it anymore. So we've got to massage this, or you need to explain to me why you did this, because I'm not really understanding it. I think doing feedback like that, unless you have this person next to you and you're able to like go over and edit together. Like I'm just assuming that most everybody uses remote, even though that we have an in-house person, but still, whenever we're working with anybody that is remote, that kind of feedback where they can hear your passion or frustration, I think can really educate them a lot faster. So creating that stuff and those playbooks and saving those video, even if you don't have somebody to like give them to, but just building that little library so that if and when somebody does start working for you as an editor, you're like, hey, start here. I want you to spend like 3 hours watching all of these videos, listening to what I think about, how I think about this work, and the things I like, the things that I don't like. And if you can get inside my head, that's going to make this whole thing move a lot faster. Otherwise, we're going to be starting from scratch, and I'm probably going to get a lot more frustrated with you because you can't get into my head soon enough. And having this kind of stuff accessible is going to make that happen a lot more efficiently.
I love that. And the Loom video is something that I know about that I've never done. And that just makes so much sense. If I could be sitting there communicating while I'm going through the workflow, that's a great form of, communication and a teaching tool for someone.
I'll put notes in Frame, so that they have them, but then I will go back over like all of my notes on a Loom video. So I'll say like, hey, right here, this is where I said like, and I'll show them exactly like, this is where I'm not, the color's weird here. At this point, this is the part where I say the music's weird, and I don't know what it is about it. Right. So to even articulate, if you don't know, is better than just like saying like, I don't like it.
Yeah. They might catch me cursing a few times doing some keyframes, but it would be worth it.
Like, how are you, like what 2 frames off there? Come on, pick it up.
Oh, that's the worst thing of all time. You think you're at the end and then something's messed up at the beginning.
Is the best. Well, is this helpful?
Yeah, totally. And I know it's a cheesy thing to say, but that went so fast. Like I have like 10 more bullet points here that we're not gonna be able to touch. So it was very helpful. Yeah.
Well, maybe we'll have to do it again another time.
Please.
Eric, where can people follow along? How can they see your short film? Where can they find you?
So if you want to see or connect with the creative agency, if you just go to twinpine.work, you can see our website and all of our work there. And if you want to connect with my brother and I on a more personal level, if you could follow us at Breaker Bros. So it's just BRAKERBROS on social media.
That's great. Yeah, I saw your website looks great.
Thanks.
Fun little video ask there.
You like that?
Yeah,
I thought of that all on my own.
Looks pro, and you guys look like you're doing good stuff. So I'm excited for you, man.
Thanks.
You're at a really cool spot. I mean, there's a lot of magic that happens in those early years, but I think finding time to work on the business and to do it consistently will have a what is the word? That will have the biggest impact for the longest time. So I love to encourage people to say, like, hey, if it's 30 minutes, if it's 60 minutes a week, where you can just say, like, this is my time to work on the business. And the working on the business isn't like getting my inbox to zero. It's not, following up with, whoever needs a phone call. It's what is a better process for editing? Or what is the thing that's frustrating me the most in my business? It's like, oh gosh, it's trying to find a time to meet with somebody. Is there a tool out there that I can find, use, pay for that will make this easier? And spending 30 to 60 minutes every single week looking at your long list of frustrations or your long list of, I still don't have a system for this thing, but I just need this to be a little bit easier. And I firmly believe that even as creatives, if we have systems that at least can help us get started, it doesn't have to, it doesn't mean every piece is going to feel the same or whatever, but at least it helps our crazy minds have a little bit of focus and help at least get started. I think it changes everything. Grateful for our time, and keep me posted on how things go. And when is the wedding? You can just pick a date.
September 18th, 2027.
Okay. All right. You got some time. So you got plenty of time to make this business into a crushing, massive revenue. You can hit $1 million before you get married. Let's go, man.
All right. There we go. That's what I needed. Yeah, maybe I can. But I just wanted to say real quick, thank you. Like, I really appreciate you and this show you've done over the years. I think there's probably a lot of, 17, 18-year-old kids out there quietly listening who are learning how to, chase and hopefully build, their dream job and help build their dream life because of it. So keep doing what you're doing. It's pretty cool. And it's helped to give me more of an abundance mindset rather than pure competitive one. So thank you.
Love that. Cool. Thanks, brother. Appreciate those words.
Hey, thanks so much for tuning into this episode of the Grow Your Video Business podcast. If you got something out of today's conversation, do me a favor, share it with a friend or post it on your socials. Tag me at Ryan Coral or at Grow Your Video Business. I'd love to know what resonated with you. If you've got a question or takeaway, drop a comment wherever you're listening or watching this. You can also shoot me a message. I read every single one. And hey, if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. We've got more stories, strategies, and behind the scenes insights coming your way to help you build a business that you love. Keep creating, keep sharing your story, and keep showing up. I'm cheering you on. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. See you next time.